Ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow! Just so nobody gets the idea that we actually tape Friday night show and Sunday morning show one after the other. We would never do that. There, okay. Okay. I guess they know now. Alright. Alright. Good morning, blessed morning to you. Blessed Sunday morning to you. This is Basil BuddhaCat Presents. I'm David Stevenson, Basil's co-host, interpreter, chief gopher, and apparently we have no wardrobe person, so we do the best we can with what we got. Basil BuddhaCat, center slot. I want to make sure his necktie is properly adjusted. Make sure his peacock plumage, both the interior plumage that holds up the exterior plumage, and got your exterior plumage on backwards there, it looks like. Okay, there we go. And his exterior plumage held up by the interior plumage. And, okay. So, Friday night we were talking about, seems like only a couple minutes ago. Friday night we were talking about the NCAA tournament. And sure enough, we've got our final 16. But as not to let the ones that didn't make it go unmentioned, we're going to mention them. Fallen by the wayside on the way to the Sweet 16 are the Cincinnati Bearcats, the Georgia State Panthers, the number one seeded in their area, their bracket, the Villanova Wildcats, a number one seed out of the 4 number one seeds. The University of Northern Iowa Panthers, who amazingly enough were beaten by a bunch of Cardinals, and we're still investigating that one. A couple of dogs by the wayside. The Butler Bulldogs and the Georgetown Hoyas. Okay? Bunch of birds by the wayside. So we have four cat family members by the wayside, 2 dog family members by the wayside, 4 bird family members by the wayside, the Iowa Hawkeyes, the Kansas Jayhawks, who was they were a number 2 seed in their region. So another one, another big upset. They were beaten by who the heck knows? And there's so many teams to start with. They say 68 teams, but we know because we watched over the last 2 weeks. We've watched, I'm going to say, 8,218 games. And we were talking about this on Friday night. Some of those games had players in them that were like 8 years old. So I don't think they were college teams, but somehow they got in the NCAA tournament. Some of them were teams that looked like they were from a long time ago because the players were wearing these baggy pants. They don't wear the baggy pants anymore, do they? Well, they're going from the tight pants to the baggy pants to the tight pants and back and forth. Who knows? But they weren't. And actually, come to think of it, a lot of the games we've been watching were in black and white. So I don't think they were recent games. I mean, good friend of the show, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, was in a bunch of the games. So I know he's not. He graduated college a couple of years ago, didn't he? So he's not him. Matter of fact, they even introduced him in the pregame ceremonies as not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but the more familiar And Basil, again, notes the importance of birds in the tournament. Lou Alcondor. No, not Alcondor. It was Alcindor. Basil says, Alcindor to you, Alcondor to me. Okay. So a bunch of birds went by the wayside. The Iowa Hawkeyes, Kansas Jayhawks, the Oregon Ducks, who were, I think, fairly highly regarded. Dayton Flyers, who were not very highly regarded, and can we call them birds? I mean, they're flyers. Wouldn't that be more like? Couldn't that be more like planes or jets? And actually, Dayton. I think Dayton is where the Wright brothers are from originally, before they migrated to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and did their famous takeoff of the alleged first takeoff of a plane. I think they were bicycle manufacturers in Dayton, Ohio. And I think that's why the Dayton Flyers are called the Dayton Flyers. We'll have to check that one out. Audience, anybody out there know? Got some free chocolate milk for anybody? Those left over from Friday night, but, you know, it's still good. So anybody out there know? Bill Murray up in the hammock? Hey, we got Keith Olbermann up there still, too. Keith Olbermann shouldn't you be out? Keith Olbermann says he's so sports knowledgeable. He doesn't even have to be there to cover the tournament. He already knows who's going to win. And that's like Basil did last year. Basil knew who was going to win last year. And sure enough, the Kentucky Wildcats fell to our home state, Yukon Huskies. And how's that? So, you know, you hear that, Olbermann? You can fall too. The mighty can fall. So don't make any predictions. He's got a sheepish look on his face, and he's sort of like, yeah, he knows. Don't make any predictions. Okay. Bill Murray's up there with him. That you, Stephen? Yeah, Stephen Colbert's still up there too. They were thinking about having Drew Carey up there also. Drew Carey, who did a brief stint after our good friend Craig Kilborn and big Jeffrey Peterson, as opposed to our little Jeffrey Peterson. After Craig Kilborn retired, Drew Carey did a brief stint on the show. And back in the day, back when Drew Carey was funny, for lack of a better word, he would have been dangerous up there in that hammock. So it's a good thing he didn't get up there, because Drew Carey, when he was on the Late Show, subbing for actually briefly taking over as a potential replacement part for Craig Kilborn. No, not Craig Kilborn, Craig Ferguson. Little Jeffrey Peterson corrected me on that. Thank you. So when he took over for Craig Kilborn, he did about 2 weeks worth of shows, and we watched the first night's show that he was on, and you know, he was bad. It just wasn't. He wasn't bad. He wasn't good. You know, and you want something a little bit better. Craig Ferguson show, for all its repetitiveness and basically doing the same stuff every single night. You know, he'd open with a monologue, and he'd have somebody come out of the audience and tap him on the shoulder and pretend to fondle them from behind, and, you know, the other kind of stuff. And then he'd use his pretend naughty words and all his bleep outs and whatnot, and chuckle about that. And, you know, he did good interviews. Did a good show. His show was a great show, and this means no disrespect to Craig Ferguson. It was the best show ever to fall asleep by. Because, you know, it gets to 12:30 at night on the East Coast, and you're kind of tired, and you're ready to fall asleep anyway. What do? You turn on the Late Show with Craig Ferguson, and you know exactly how the full show is going to unfold. You know the horse is going to come out of the stall, Secretariat. You know, they're going to do certain things in a certain order. it's all pretty much the same stuff as they've done the other hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows that they've done. So he's going to make a joke about being Scottish and say it's a great day for America and pound on that whatever the heck he pounded on when he said that. But you could watch it, you could ease back knowing that all was well with the world. Craig Ferguson was doing the same shtick that he did every other night, and you could drift off into dreamland. That was good. I mean, he was funny. He was very, very affable, very likable guy. He was a guy that you could be friends with, a guy that seemingly could be friends with. He did the tweets and the emails for years and years. Actually, he starts off with the emails years ago, and then incorporated in the tweets and the little graphics to start that off, and it was good. And we got little Jeffrey Peterson to join us after Big Jeff. Hey, and we got the Wizard also. The Wizard came from our good friend Lara Sky, so he always hanging on the hip of little Jeffrey Peterson since we started deciding to use him as a prop on Basil BuddhaCat Presents! Exclamation point. So, okay. So Sweet 16, okay? So we got the 4 cats gone. Cincinnati Bearcats, Georgia State Panthers, Villanova Wildcats, number 1 seed in their region, and the University of Northern, some state beginning with I, Panthers. Okay? 2 dogs went by the wayside, Georgetown Hoyas and the Butler Bulldogs, the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Kansas Jayhawks. So Kansas Jayhawks were a number 2 seed, very highly regarded team, gone. So 2 birds went by the wayside, and actually 4 birds went by the wayside because they were joined by the Oregon Ducks, who were not so highly regarded as it turns out, and the Dayton Flyers, who we don't know were actually named after birds. They might have been named after the Wright brothers' flying machines. If you ever drink a chocolate milk, you get down toward the bottom of it, especially if you're using Hershey's chocolate milk, which also brings us Tootsie Rolls. You got to squish it around a little bit because the chocolate settles to the bottom, and you got to kind of shake it up a little bit, and there it's mixed in again. Okay. Piggy wants to say hello. I want to remind everybody about the El Cinco de Abril coming up, right about the time the tournament ends. And, of course, a month later, the more popular but no better Cinco de Mayo. That's Cinco de Marzo. I think we did Cinco de Febrero, too. Yeah, we're doing all the Cincos. Because what better way to celebrate the 5th of any month than with... No, we don't have the margarita account yet, so forget about it. We're not going to even mention them. So those are the ones that fell by the wayside, along with, okay, there's some more. Some non-animal teams actually fell by the wayside. 6 of them. The University of Alabama, Birmingham Blazers. But Basil kind of liked them, of course, because Blazers, the color red is somehow mixed into that, and Basil's favorite color, is red. Ohio State Buckeyes. Their uniforms are red. They're just about actually the same hue of red as our graphics. Play the graphics? Okay. Okay, Arkansas Razorbacks. Also, and tough friggin' luck, Tom, Ayatollah Tom Cotton. Arkansas Razorbacks, a darker shade of red, more of a maroon color, but again, red. Out. Now, University of Virginia Cavaliers, not red. Out. Who cares? San Diego State Aztecs. Now, here's the thing. Last year, in 2014, we were following the NCAAs, of course, as we've been doing for these many 2 years. And Basil kept confusing San Diego State's mascot's name. He kept calling them, it's the Aztecs. And Basil kept saying, ass white. Which I guess shows he didn't have much respect for them. Okay, they're gone. So nothing, doesn't matter, they're gone. And lastly but not leastly, because Basil likes his turtle soup, the Maryland Terrapins, gone. Okay. Now, let's stop concentrating on yesterday's news, the losers bracket. Let's move on to the Sweet 16, the teams that actually made it. And as I mentioned on the first show, we have 2 cats, we have 2 dogs. No, we have 2 cats, we have 1 dog. One that you'd never guess is a friggin' dog. You have 2 cats, 1 dog, 1 bird, 3 other miscellaneous animals, and a bunch of other crazed. What the hell is a blue devil? Isn't Red Devil the paint spray company? Which, by the way, we probably could use another corporate advertiser now that Abbott Labs is gone. Okay, so amongst the non-animal, at least the non-important animal teams making the finals, and there are 9 of them. This kind of irks Basil because out of the Sweet 16, only 7 of them are even animals. I mean, last year we had like 8 cats going into the field of 68 in 2014, and a bunch of animals coming down into the final, into the Sweet 16, and then not to be had this year. Only 7 are even animals. Here are the ones that are non-animals. The Xavier Musketeers, the Utah Utes, whatever the heck that is, the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, I think that might be a reference to what ends up in smokers' lungs that after they've smoked the substance which comes out of University of North Carolina. And kids, important note, when you're thinking about smoking something else besides tobacco, that other something else has tar in it. So it's not good for your lungs either. And we're talking about marijuana. Kids, if you're going to do marijuana, do it through the water filtration system, using a hookah or something. So you don't get that tar and that crap in your lungs. You know, bad stuff. And also tobacco. So the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Okay. We have the Michigan State Spartans. Not to be confused with the purveyors of prophylactics, the USC Trojans. The Spartans are a different team. Okay, we've got, again, a lot of ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference teams in. Now, granted, a lot of those teams that are in from the ACC are former Big East teams. We'll get to that later if we have time. But, so we have the Duke Blue Devils, and what the hell is a name like that on a team in the Bible Belt? What's that all about? Okay, unless I think that they're associating the color blue with the word devils, and since the color blue is the adopted color of the Democratic Party, that it sort of makes sense. Okay, although North Carolina actually voted for President Obama in 2008, and we'll get them back again eventually, hopefully, onto the onto the side that's once all the racists die off, and the racist grandkids and the racist great grandkids, and it's going to be a long haul. Okay, also in the Sweet 16, not animal kingdom, the Wichita State Shockers. Okay, and as mentioned earlier on Friday night's show, the Oklahoma Sooners. And Basil's still waiting because he's gonna get an opportunity at some point when the Oklahoma Sooners go out. Basil's gonna be singing at the top of his lungs. Well, his version is ain't no Sooners in Sigma Alpha Epsilon, but the truth of the matter is it actually should be the other way around, and we figured that out Friday night, and Basil's still mulling it over. What? Okay, he said... Said, admitted, it should be ain't no Sigma Alpha Epsilon in Oklahoma Sooners, because they were kicked off campus and under investigation nationwide, along with about 300 other fraternity chapters in every state of the country for doing those songs, for those type of songs. So that's it. Lastly but not leastly, the West Virginia Mountaineers, and we don't want to miss them out because we have our Basil and my good friend Puddle River in West Virginia. So West Virginia Mountaineers, working backwards, West Virginia Mountaineers, Oklahoma Sooners, Wichita State Shockers, Duke Blue Devils, Michigan State Spartans, University of North Carolina Tar Heels, Utah Utes, Xavier Musketeers, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And seeing as Basil tells some cat jokes, and that's understandable. We have Italian people can tell Italian jokes because that's their peeps. Polish people can tell Polish jokes because that's their peeps. They can insult their own folks. They can be self-effacing if they want to. So I'm going to be a self-effacing Irish person. Well, English, Irish, French, Dutch, and if I drank, I'd be a fifth Scotch. Notre Dame Irish. They're there. And, the joke. Okay. Basil said, look, if you're going to tell a joke, tell it, get it over with. Okay, I will. Basil, here's the joke. What's the only thing that can keep an Irishman from fighting? Got it? Okay. It's too busy drinking. What's the only thing that can keep an Irishman from drinking? Too busy fighting. Okay, there's your Irish joke. Don't repeat it unless you're Irish. Now, for the 7 teams that matter in the Sweet 16, we're going to start with the from out west, from California, team that's won more NCAA tournaments than any other team by a long shot because they won like 10 in a row when they had guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Walton and Sidney Wicks and just a juggernaut. They were the Boston Celtics pretty much during that same time frame of college basketball. The UCLA Bruins, John Wooden, great coach, but they've won some tournaments since then. So they were in the Final Four 3 years in a row. So they've had some crappy years along the way, but they're in the Sweet 16 this year. The UCLA Bruins, welcome. Okay. Another non-cat, non-dog, non-bird animal. The North Carolina State Wolf Pack. Okay, they're there in the Sweet 16. Okay. Holdover from last year, Wisconsin Badgers. And Basil and I spent some time last year trying to figure out whether a badger was more like a cat or more like a dog. And Basil, being the know-it-all that he is, said, they're just badgers. Not dog, not cat, just badgers. And I said, I said, you're right. Okay, that's the non-cat, non-dog, non-birds. Okay? Let's work our way through the birds till we get to the 2 top teams, which of course are the cats. From the bird kingdom, we have the Louisville Cardinals, who were right there last year too, and they're right there in the Sweet 16 again this year, and looking pretty good. Okay, now here comes the one that kind of, you look at the logo, and it looks like a bulldog. But somebody in the audience is going to have to help Basil and I with this one, because how in the world is a Zag a dog? I mean, Basil knew a dog named Zig, but Zag? Okay, the Gonzaga Zags, and their mascot on their little team logo is I like a bulldog with sort of like the Georgia Bulldogs with a collar, like a bulldog with a collar around it with the spikes on it. You know, the tough looking dog. That's the Gonzaga Zags. They're in the Sweet 16. Welcome. Now, the teams that Basil thinks are going to be the teams that are going to battle it out for the championship. And why are they going to do that? Are they the best teams? Well, pretty much. Yeah. Certainly the best team. And certainly one of the best teams. The other one. We have the... remember, swish it around. Get the chocolate mixed back in. And don't drink it 2 days later, because, frankly, I'm not. Settles quickly, though. Hold on. One final toast. To the harmonica roll, maestro. Okay. The Arizona Wildcats, from the same conference as the UCLA Bruins, from the Pac-12. And they are the only Pac-12 teams. Well, 2 out of 16, that's not bad for one conference. Now, I mentioned earlier that I think 5 left from the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. The, let's see, Duke Blue Devils, the North Carolina Tar Heels, that's 2. North Carolina State Wolfpack, that's 3. And 2 more, but they're recent ACC arrivals. The Louisville Cardinals, from the formerly from the Atlantic, from wherever the UConn Huskies came from, the Big East, and also the there's one in here somewhere again. Oh, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who won the ACC tournament. So they were at least in tournament terms, they were the top team in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and formerly from the Big East. Did you order more disco albums? Basil said, that's new age, not disco. Okay. Sorry, we're not getting them.
They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street. And Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Meow.